Fighting.
All right, what a wonderful way to start the show. We are live. Surprise. This is the Pals Pulls, our Wednesday review show that you guys are familiar with. You watched every week or however long you've been tuning in. We are now doing this as a live show over on Twitch. Are we live on YouTube, Tyler?
Not YouTube yet. I haven't gotten that together yet. Yeah, there's other things I got to do for that. But
Twitch for now. It's a surprise thing we're doing today. We didn't plug it. We didn't promote it. If you're watching this on YouTube, happy to have you. If you're watching this on Twitch, happy to have you. This is the new format going forward. There will be some things that are different about this show than you're used to, especially in the coming weeks. But for now, it's going to be pretty much what you expect. We're going to be talking comics. In fact, today we are going to be talking about 4 of the biggest releases of the week. Now, one of the biggest changes that we're doing is that the image reviews that we would normally put out on Wednesday are just going to be a part of this show. So for all you Spawn freaks out there, we are doing Spawn today.
Why?
We're doing Spawn today.
Freaks. Why?
Don't insult the Spawn fan base.
Yeah, never do that. Never do that. That's rule number 1, Tyler.
Thank you for tuning in, Spawn fans.
Can I?
Rule number 2.
I just want to yell at the evil Ernie fan base. See if we can find those people. I think there's a Venn diagram that crosses over there, actually.
I don't even know what that is, but
okay. I
do know and want to introduce you guys to the listeners. So first we have Marco. You guys know Marco. Hello, Marco.
Sean, would you say we're doing this live?
I would, actually. But my question to you is, if you're doing it live and no one knows it, is it live?
I can't do these kind of. I just came off of work. I can't do. My brain's not there.
We do have one person in the chat. The Tyler.
Yeah,
that's me. Shit. Okay. All right.
And I'm in there too. We also have Kale. Kale joining us for the first time on the Wednesday reviews. How you doing?
I'm exhausted. How dare you do this to me?
You know I love to torture you.
Kale, your hair's looking great today, at least.
Damn. I know.
Yeah, I know. See, I knew how to butter them up. There we go.
That was a weird reaction anyway. But the final voice that you hear is Tyler, who, of course, is a regular here. Also now a regular on the Comics Pals main show, which you can hear every single Monday. Hello, Tyler.
Guten Tag. I don't know.
Oh, how are you finding your promotion?
I would be lying if there wasn't a little bit of an ego trip going on, but mostly it's just my creative juices are gushing right now. And like my juices, like my creative juices, like if I can answer the age-old question regarding my creative juices.
Don't want that.
It do squirt.
I also want to make sure that we all understand that there is a moratorium now on the word gushy. Gushing, anything gush is now banned.
Any conjugation.
Gushy.
Just so we know.
No gushers?
No, not at all. Let me introduce the books, please, and thank you. Today we are talking about 4 books. We've got Inferno number 4, the book we're all here for and excited about. Can't wait to dive into this bad boy.
On your screen as well.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got X-Men number 6. We've got probably our first Dark Horse book on this review show.
Oh yeah,
Apache Delivery Service number 1.
Oh, you got the variant?
I did.
Sean stay be getting them variants.
I love variants.
Don't know why I ordered it that way, but you know.
I love it. And then we have Spawn 325.
Oh,
also
you got
a variant.
Gorilla.
You know I had to do it. You know I had to. Okay. You guys know.
Hot take while we're here. Cygor, the only cool Spawn character.
Wrong.
All right, fine. We'll talk about it.
We will talk about it. But you know what else we're going to talk about is Inferno number 4. This is probably my most anticipated book of the year thus far.
Oh yeah, just so you know, I do have this giant ass spoiler alert that I can bring up on here. Bam, there.
Wee woo.
We are going to spoil the living hell out of this comic book. So hopefully you guys have read it, or you just don't care about spoilers, because we're going in Full stop. Nothing's
Diving
going to
into
stop
that
us
crocussy.
from
Let's
diving.
go.
Oh my God, Tyler, I can't handle it.
It's gonna stay.
It is. It is.
So let me get through the creative team. Of course, Jonathan Hickman, his last hurrah, allegedly, on the X-Men. Valerio Schiti and Stefano Caselli did art together this time. David Curiel on colors. Joe Sabino did the letters. And of course, Tom Muller, the designer of all the X books. This is the big finale. And there are a lot of things to dive into, but one of these people is reading Inferno for the first time. And that happens to be Kale. Kale was trade waiting Inferno, but because he is now a member of this particular show, he had to read them all to be able to do this review. So, Kale, I would love a brief overview of your thoughts about Inferno so far before we dive into issue 4.
Okay, so I believe I was on the first review for Inferno 1. And no, I wasn't, but I did talk about it on the show. Man, that ending to that first issue where Destiny just fucking shows up, incredible.
Yeah.
Here for it. Oh my God. It's so interesting because I read X-Men 6 before I dove into Inferno, and nothing else X-Men has the gravitas that Hickman does when he's writing, especially these characters.
Yes.
And it's interesting to actually get to read like an X-Men, an Xavier and Magneto story.
Yeah.
Where they're like in their prime and they're like doing the damn thing. That was really, really cool. The thing that plagued me through this whole thing is that this could have been so much more. It just ripped me asunder through the whole thing. It's just like, oh, this could be cool. And we'll get into it in 4, in where I think the sort of saving grace came, his sort of Hail Mary came from, so he could end it the way he needed it to.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I'm dissatisfied because it shouldn't be over. Like, this is not fair. But I gotta say, like, for what it is, I'm not upset. Like, I'm not mad. It's pretty good.
All right.
So good to hear.
That's a glowing review from you too.
That is,
Yeah.
I don't think Kale's ever got up on this show. Well, he's never been on this show, but I don't think Kale's ever been on a review that we did and said something was pretty good. So I'm happy with that. Let's dive into the actual issue here. It picks us up pretty much directly where issue 3 leaves us, where Magneto and Professor X are facing off not only with Orcus, but with the 2 primary antagonists of the story so far, unless you count them as those people, Omega Sentinel and Nimrod. This is the battle of the century. Think about it. We haven't seen Professor Xavier and Magneto really get it in, really throw down at all in the Krakoan era. So for this to be happening was mind-blowing. And when Omega Sentinel and Nimrod turned around and just killed every human, I was like, oh shit, the game has changed. This is the end game scenario for Earth. Like, it's beyond human mutant. This is something completely different. This is bad. And we understand that this is not Nimrod at his full powers, but Nimrod at any power level is a problem. And this fight was incredible.
Definitely the fact that they just turn around, smoke everybody. I love that. Like it was such a moment to emphasize the fact that they have this power, not necessarily the upper hand, right? Because at this point, right, he's not at full strength. He's not there yet, but just like a taste of the ideology that we are the superior, and that's something that gets tossed around throughout, is the fact that at the end of the day, it'll be either the humans or the machines that will prevail, and the X-Men mutantdom at the end of the day is gonna be struggling and fighting for survival. So the fact that this was the move, it just emphasizes that entire conflict. It was awesome. A great moment.
Yeah. Tyler, what'd you get out of that, if anything?
Yo, I love Nimrod.
Yeah.
Like, the one thing that I'm getting out of this is like, yeah, sure, the Moira stuff is great. Sure, like the Mystique and Destiny stuff is great, but like, yo, Nimrod? I'm like, all right. He's always been one of those characters, and I'm like, I wish there could have been something better with him in an X-Men book, like because X-Men villains are like some of my favorite villains there. So seeing Nimrod have a chance to shine, and there was that one panel where I think he's fighting Magneto, where you only see like it's all in black. It's like heavy inks, but you see his eyes behind it, his eyes and his mouth. I was like, yo, that's menacing as shit, and I was really hyped for that. Yeah, I think this. What I liked about this is that it didn't disprove a lot of the theories we had. In fact, it proved one of them. But it also leaves Hickman's all of his toys in a place where, yeah, it kind of answered the Moira story, really. Like, Moira's story is mostly done. It can be picked up whenever, wherever. Thanks, Shakira. But knowing that we have what is it? Immortal X-Men coming up. By Gillen.
Yes.
It's real interesting to see like how this will tie into that. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I still think like I'm with Kale, where I'm like, I feel like there could have been something more here, especially if Hickman knew he was continuing on or something. I don't know. I did enjoy the art a lot. I've been a big proponent of Valer Sheedy for a while now, and I'm a big Caselli mark. So seeing them two on this, yeah, it's not Pepe Larraz or RB Silva, but I think these guys are working their way up to like match those two. Now like the X-Men books have like a quiet council of their own artists and stuff that's working out. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Man,
I really want to know what Sean thinks about it though. That's...
Sean, I'll let you jump in.
Okay. I thought this issue was brilliant. It cut the fat, right? Because we all know why we're here. We know that we're here for about 6 or 7 characters. Magneto, Xavier, Omega Sentinel, and Nimrod, Emma, Mystique, Destiny, and Moira. That's it. Those 9. Those are the only characters that matter in this particular phase of the story. And that's going to bother people. There are people who are not going to like that because they want to see Cyclops. I'm repping him right now on my shirt. They want to see Rogue, who was somebody that people were really upset was not a part of this. I get it. They want to see Jean. No one wants to see that.
All right. Well,
but Hickman had to end his era in a way that allows the next era, the baton pass, to be seamless. And in order to do that, he had to resolve the story for the most major players. And that's what this accomplished. So from that perspective, I think this was perfect. I don't think that Hickman could have done anything differently with the amount of space he had, knowing that he was leaving and that he had to leave things in like a kind of flattened out way that was also compelling. Knowing he was not writing it, right? That's a lot of work. And so I want to talk about the theories that we had that paid off, because I think that shows some of the brilliance. And then I want to hear what Marco thinks, but I want to get this out.
Sean, before you
Moira,
get that,
yeah,
do you remember whose theories they were? Because I can't remember at this point.
I do.
Okay.
So
right,
the
cool.
one I was
That's
going
what
to
I'm
talk
curious
about,
yeah.
Sean always remembers.
Yeah.
Sean is.
Never
Thank you.
forgets.
That's
never
true.
forgives.
Yeah. So I said in the issue 2 review that Moira was working on a cure for mutants.
Yep.
And that's exactly what she had. That was her end game the whole time, was to cure mutants and remove the mutant gene from children. Because they say it's before it activates. For all mutants, pretty much, it activates around the time when you mature, when you start to go through puberty. So that's talking about erasing the mutant gene from children. That's the same as genocide almost. It's an awful thing. And that was a brilliant turn because it solidifies that she's bad, but she's doing it because she thinks it's right. You can't craft a better villain than that.
It's so interesting because I went, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And the thing I liked about it is, like, this has been Moira since her inception as a character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Moira's
it's
a good guy.
It's just skewing it in the slightest bit.
Yep.
Where her intentions are exactly the same, but because of, Krakoa and all that, it's in a more sinister light, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we go forward on that, Marco, I want you to share your thoughts. And if you have thoughts about what we just said, please do.
I think starting with the extension of that conversation, I think I'm especially excited for the outcomes in Immortal X-Men. That is sort of the next step here for this storyline, where I think, and I hope, with what Gillen's been doing on Eternals, we get a more complex, a bit meaty, heady vibe for the Quiet Council. And that I hope that that's what this story is going to be focused on, because I agree to Kale's earlier point that there's so much here that this could have been a Hickman book, right? Where like I could have seen this be a 12-issue mini, or like a maxi series, or he could have just been doing the Quiet Council and that's political drama that I'm absolutely all about. And so my hope is that that's exactly what he's going to be doing in that. And I'm very much looking forward to it. The other thing was going to be, I was just reacting to something Tyler said about Bella Rashidi, and I read this book, then X-Men, and Pepe Larraz is in that. And man, I definitely miss Larraz on art. I think Sheedy does an incredible job, no doubt. But there are moments in this where backgrounds are, and this is obviously a stylistic choice, it just didn't work for me as well, I think, where backgrounds are, those single colors or like a simple gradient. And I would have really wanted to feel like there was space in this book. Obviously it's a fight scene, so largely a fight scene, so you can mix and match it however you want. But I think Larraz does a really good job of giving us that spatial awareness as well. That's something that Sheedy didn't necessarily do. Again, love the art, but I think for shame to compare, but I mean, like there's more there from a technical perspective that Larraz could have added to this book, and I think it would have been that much more of a moment had Hickman closed out his run with Larraz, who had like established all of this. That would have been phenomenal. And we didn't get that. I don't hate that, but just like a quick critique on that art.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably one of the bigger shames of this whole thing. And I think that's the art side is probably the part that's the most obviously impacted. In that I think Hickman, if he could choose, probably would have wanted this to be a story that had only one artist, and probably that'd be Laraz, right?
Yeah.
If you, let's say you only read House and Powers and then this, story wise, it's nothing really changed. You can read the one and then read this, but the art is not the same. You know, they're obviously utilizing the style that Laraz kind of crafted, but he's the master. You know, he's the one that set the stage. It's not different than Hickman not writing the X-Men, because he is the Hickman of the art, Laraz. So I completely agree with that. I think this would have been a better experience were it Laraz, but I also think it would have been a better bookend if it were Laraz. But no shade, because I think that Caselli and Sheedy do a good job. They're both very talented.
Excellent.
I don't want this to come across as if we don't like them or we don't think they're good. They're very good.
You're just talking narrative cohesion at this point.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Like full creator cohesion.
Which is fair. I mean, Caselli and Hickman have a long history together too. And I think in this book where there are two artists, I think having Caselli do the latter third, I believe it was, where there is a tonal shift in the story, and then you switch over an artist. I like, if you're gonna have two artists on a book, do it when the story can necessitate that, you know. And I'm glad they did that here. I love Caselli. You know, I'm an Initiative Secret Warriors fan, so.
Secret Warriors was so good, dude.
That was Caselli with Hickman, you know.
I
like,
didn't remember that was Caselli.
Like Caselli, veteran at this point, I would think. I think he's a verified veteran, but I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I mean, Pepe Larraz and RB Silva. I'd really say Stuart Immonen kind of perfected that kind of feel.
Yeah, but you know.
I know. I get you. But I don't know. I'm okay with them moving on. Or I mean, they're doing X-Men, so they're not fully moving on. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. But I'm kind of surprised that you guys weren't as hot on it as I was.
Again, don't think it was bad. I think it was great.
Sure,
there was never a moment where I was like, "Oh, this is rough" or anything like that. Let's shift gears just a little bit because I do want to praise Hickman for the level up that happened here for certain characters. 2 years ago, who was talking about Omega Sentinel? Now, she's a piece of the biggest X-Men story of the last 20 years. Nimrod. Nimrod is not an A-list X-Men villain, right?
Worst
He's just
name
not.
ever.
Best name ever. Don't ever disrespect Nimrod.
I mean, okay, you know what I mean. Like, worst, best name.
Nimrod is a hunter from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's hot. That's fire. Now he's a major player. Now I can't wait for the Nimrod movie. I can't wait for the movie where it's Nimrod versus the X-Men. That's going to be fantastic. And it's because of Hickman. Now Nimrod has a voice that we can like address in a movie. You know, no, Kale?
No.
What you mean, no?
Don't talk about
so.
MCU movies in front of Kale, all right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
First of all,
that's fair. That's fair.
but
I'm sorry, Kale. I don't want to interrupt you, but we are getting comments. And Nightmare Rain X said you have to bow before the Nimrod. You're completely right. Thank you for adding that.
No, you're not right. You're human.
Yes.
He's gonna kill you. I'm assuming you're human. Okay, that's an unfair assumption.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
assuming
assume.
you're human.
How dare you?
Assuming
that's
people
2022. You
can
can't assume. God.
What's wrong with you?
That's
Go
my
ahead,
bad.
Kale.
I totally.
Go ahead.
I don't think there's enough here. I think had we gotten the full Hickman, then we could have had it.
It's not over.
I mean,
It's over for Hickman.
It's not over for Nimrod.
I think that part's over.
I want to see what Gillen
We'll
does
see
with this.
Nimrod again, but it's not going to be this. It's not. It's not going to be the full Hoxpox vision from Hickman.
You think he has like a manuscript somewhere that he just like mailed to Kieran Gillen, and it's like a scroll. It's a giant scroll, and it's only written in Krakoan.
I was thinking about that genuinely as I finished it, and I was like, I bet they had a talk.
Oh, I bet. Oh, I would have loved to have been in that talk. Like Gillen's the type of person who would appreciate a giant tome given to him.
100%.
You know, it's like when a president writes a letter to the
Yeah,
next president
yeah.
sort of thing. So
Let's talk about what it means that Emma fully betrayed Xavier and Magneto.
good.
That relationship is over.
Good.
Fully, completely dead in the water. Does this change how you guys feel about Emma right now?
Love her.
No. This feels so true to her character, where she sees a vacuum and she goes, "I'm gonna fill that space. Like I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do is best for me, and what is best for what I feel my own plans are." And who's to say she has plans necessarily? But it's not even to go against like Xavier or Magneto. It's the transparency that was placed there, that focus on just like, hey, you've lied, you're now have to stew in the consequences of this. Like, fuck you guys for not including me, and now you have to face the ire of all the rest of the council. This is what the status quo is, and I'm leading that status quo. That was hot.
My God, I can't do it, man. Let me explain why I'm struggling with that, okay? Because that's
Really?
what's, yes, I have a
think
problem.
That's what Marco, I think that's what you're led to supposed to believe. But the thing with Emma, there's always something else.
My thing is this book says, hey, you guys were wrong for keeping that secret. So Emma goes, I'm going to tell everybody who's on the Quiet Council and no one else.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so different than what Xavier and Magneto already did? Why was Emma knowing better than her not knowing? She didn't help anything. In fact, that decision that she made led to Professor Xavier and Magneto dying, not being able to tell the Quiet Council what they learned, which was critical information, that the machines are not with the mutants, that they have their own agenda. They don't know that now. And now we lost Moira as a mutant. Granted, her plans, awful plans, right? But Emma, Mystique, and Destiny, to me, are selfish.
I completely disagree.
Great, go
I do
ahead.
too, yeah.
That's good.
Emma's core is always masked to be about herself. That's the image she puts out there. She puts out this selfish image. You know, she's got these machinations that she wants to project, but at her core, it's about the children. It's always been about that. Mm-hmm. And I think this is saying, hey, Magneto and Professor X, the Quiet Council was bullshit if you guys were consolidating power behind the scenes. What is the point of the Quiet Council? So it's her then taking that, because that's what she does. She takes power when she wants it and when she needs it. And that's her taking it and then consolidating it with Krakoa. It's the Quiet Council. Obviously, I think there is a limit to that, because you can't tell everyone that leads to madness, essentially. But she can then share that with the Quiet Council. She's sharing that with Sinister. She knows Sinister is a piece of shit. You know?
It's foolish. How is that smart? How is it smart?
I'm not saying it's smart or not smart. I'm just saying it tracks for her.
Wait. I'm not saying it as a track. I'm not saying it's not in her character. I'm saying I don't like it. And not that I don't like it as a story beat, just like appreciating it as a story, as a soap opera. I'm hating her right now for that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think that what she did not help. It hurt.
I think it hurt, but I think in the long run it helps her to some extent.
Exactly. Which is why I said I think she's selfish.
I don't think it even helps her specifically. I think it helps Krakoa. If the Quiet Council can then finally act as a unit and knows all the shit that's going on, sure, they don't know about Nimrod and Omega Sentinel and all those dead humans, but they know about Moira and the many deaths and lives of her. Now they're all on the same page, for better or for worse. And I think
they can figure out the Sentinel stuff, you know,
Oh, I'm sure the next time
when the
they
time
bump,
comes.
yeah, next time they bump into Nimrod, that dude talks too much for a robot. You know,
It might be too late.
It won't.
And who knows what Sinister's going to do with that information.
Yeah,
This is really bad.
Sinister. Stefano Caselli draws a fantastic Sinister with the twirly mustache.
His mustache is unbelievable.
Highlight of this whole Krakoa thing is Sinister's fashion choices changing in every single book he's in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
God, there's just so much to unpack here. I really love Doug's role here. Obviously,
so good.
Hickman, threw Doug in at the last minute in the third issue to say, yeah, Doug's going to play a factor here. I really love Doug as the white hat of the story. Everybody else is either just black hat or shades of gray. Doug is like, yo, whatever you guys are doing is fine. Don't break the rules.
Yeah.
And if you do, Bay's going to handle that. And my favorite thing was Destiny was like, listen, I don't think we want this heat because if we do this, we lose regardless, no matter what.
That's like when the waiter screws up my order and I ask my wife to tell him. Like, I don't want to tell him. It's rude, Like, can you just?
That was a perfect beat, and I love that Krakoa is a factor in that as well. Like, no, these are the laws, and there will be consequences if you break the laws. That's just what it is. So that was fantastic. I am cool with Mystique and Destiny still being a part of the Quiet Council and stuff like that because of the tension that it's going to bring. I can't even imagine what Immortal X-Men is going to be like.
Yeah.
My question, though,
excited for it.
Yeah.
my question to you guys, because Xavier and Magneto don't know what happened, right? How is what happened going to impact the story going forward? Are they going to be filled in on everything?
I think they're gonna have to learn everything.
Like organically, or do you think they'll be told?
Well, I mean, in regards to, like I said earlier with the with Orcus and what happened with Nimrod,
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna have to learn that. But I would imagine they'll just be told, oh yeah, Doug did the thing and Krakoa is on to you now, so you better watch it, pal.
Right.
I think the thing we're forgetting about here, and I don't know, maybe you have this written down as something you want to talk about, but Colossus, he knows.
Yeah.
He knows everything, and he's a friggin' mole at this point. So
yeah, dude. Absolutely. That was my next point. I was actually going to bring up this sequence here.
Oh, look at that mustache. That's nice.
Yeah. I want to say before we dive into that, though, the dialogue in this issue, Kale alluded to it earlier, is so good. There's a weight to everything. It's crisp, and when the words and the panels and art are like in synthesis, this is some of the best comics. Some of Doug's stuff was really on point. There was a couple of panels.
I keep laughing whenever you just say Doug. Like,
I know, right? Like, look at how slick my man came on the page. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. The nerd of Krakoa is slick because he knows everything. He's so confident. He knows everything.
That's one confident point there.
The way Hickman just baked that in too, like, it works so well.
Yup. And even Moira being like, "Oh, are you gonna wish me luck?" And Doug's like, "Nope."
Yeah.
And Warlock is like, "Good luck, self not friend." Like she's banned. She's banned from Krakoa. It's a wrap for her.
She's human now, right?
She's human now. Yeah.
So.
But I would also argue, even more than her being human, she's an enemy of Krakoa.
The island itself, yeah.
And the mutants. And I think part of what leads me to feel that way going a little bit forward is this sequence that I held up. So the way I interpret this is these characters are looking at Magneto and Charles. That's how I interpreted it. They're not happy.
Yeah. Even Nightcrawler with his BTS haircut is
yeah.
For people like Storm and Nightcrawler and Kate to give them that look, That's not good.
Well, and to fully have Storm's back to them.
Right. Yeah. And then, as Tyler mentioned, the Colossus angle of it. Colossus is a sleeper agent for those of you who aren't keeping up with X-Force. He is being controlled.
Oh,
Right. Yeah.
His
So by his brother and like the Russian government or some craziness like that.
who is also in league with the vampires, I believe,
Right.
is in current continuity. Yeah.
So there's a whole other level to Colossus being there, which again is to my point about why the Quiet Council knowing this was really bad, because now everything is on the table and everybody, every pocket now knows the X-Men's biggest secret and weakness.
And
Because-
Putin's got his fingers everywhere.
Right. The secrets of how they resurrect is now known to Orcus and the Russians. Right. And the secret of how they have always failed and how Moira and all her powers are now known to at least the Russians and I think Orcus as well. That's the implication that I got. This is awful for the mutants. Awful. I don't think that this was a happy ending at all. I think this was a very bad ending.
I wonder then, is Immortal X-Men going to be just a book about damage control, right? Like how do you mitigate the loss of information? How do you mitigate like the strategic moves from therein?
Lots of questions.
I think that's where X-Force is going. I think in the solicits, they talk about how, X-Force needs to be more secretive and off the grid. So I'm kind of curious to see it. It's just weird, like Wolverine is so inconsequential to all this. And,
I think though
like the major trio. I mean, it's by design,
right.
but
Yeah, we're headed into a major Wolverine event with
true,
the X Lives and X Deaths,
Wild
which
thing
I'm
to
really
say.
excited for. Let's put a wrap on this. We've been talking about this book for a while. With our closing thoughts, this is the end of the Hickman era. Don't necessarily get into that. We'll do that on the main show. Just sum up the book, your thoughts on this issue and the story itself.
This thing was hot fire. I had a lot of fun reading it. I think the week to week, the month to month format did it pretty well. It left a lot of suspense, and this was a cool send off for Hickman. And yeah, man, I do wish I got more. I do wish there was a difference in art, but that's not a knock against the book or the creators. And I had a lot of fun. I hope that Hickman returns swiftly. And if he does, I'm losing a point in that end of year bet. But you know what? It'll be worth it.
Agreed.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I think, honestly, I think it's fine Hickman's leaving, to be honest.
Leave.
No, I'm not saying, does it suck? Yes. But I think I'm excited to see what other people can do with this world now.
Yeah, who?
Especially Gillen. I'm a big Gillen fan, dude.
As of right now, that's the book I'm most looking forward to, because I feel like if there's somebody who's going to carry that from what he's been doing on Eternals, just in general, Gillen as that's the kind of stuff he does.
Die is next level, especially
I haven't gotten that
world
yet. I want
building and the fantastic elements to it. Oh, it's insane.
He makes sense. He makes the most logical sense. Like I was thinking about it as the book ended, and it's like more in Immortal X-Men, right? He's the only logical choice. He is that kind of guy who is a spiritual successor. He's not Hickman, but he is the guy who can do those heady kind of large world things.
But he is Gillen.
Yeah,
Wait, what does that mean?
Comes with things. I mean, I think Gillen is much better when it comes to character voices. I think Hickman can everyone kind of just is a little serious, everyone kind of has this heavy gravitas to him, which I think works for the story he was telling. But Gillen can do that and also be funny at the same time, which I'm perfectly okay with.
Yeah.
I'm reading Once and Future right now, which it's some heavy shit going on in that book, but there's also characters being characters instead of everyone just being this archetype or this idea, really.
I am very happy with this issue. I obviously say pull it. It's my book of the week. I think Hickman really could do no wrong with the X-Men. It's a shame that this is over. But from top to bottom, when you talk about the character work, when you talk about the dialogue, and I think when you talk about the art, there's not a lot that could have gone better for this series. It's unfortunate that it is at an end, but for what we got, judging it by what it is and not what it's not, I think it's brilliant. For you guys in the chat and you guys that are watching this later, I want to ask you, how do you feel about continuing with the Krakoan story? Are you motivated by this to move forward in March when the line picks back up? Will you read X Lives Excess of Wolverine? Is that something you care about, or are you going to be a lot more choosy now with the books that you read in the X line? Sound off in the comments on Twitch or on YouTube, wherever you're listening to us. Let us know what you think about that. We're going to move forward. Was that anybody else's book of the week, by the way?
Hell yeah.
I mean, I've only read the 4 so far, so yeah, that's definitely mine.
Okay.
Same.
Well, let's shift gears to another X book. Let's do X-Men number 6. This is where Larraz is at. We've got Jerry Duggan writing it. We've got Larraz and Marta Gracia, the dynamic duo of art and comics. Of course, Gracia doing the colors. Clayton Cowles on letters, the hardest working letterer in comics. And, of course, Tom Muller on the designs. This book has been equal parts disappointing and surprising with pretty much every single issue. What I mean by that is there are aspects of it that I didn't see coming, like the Ben Urich elements that I've really been enjoying. The fact that, with the reveal in this issue, which we're going to talk about, that Cyclops is Captain Krakoa, obviously that was extremely obvious. The reason why is compelling to me. But then on the other,
am I stupid?
I thought so. I when I first saw the preview image in like October or September, whatever it was, I was like, okay, why is Cyclops wearing this? Doesn't make any sense.
Oh wow, okay. I wasn't. They got me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just how I feel. Matt saying I ain't reading that shit, I guess in reference to the next era of Krakoa. Although Matt, are you kept up on Inferno? Have you been reading this stuff?
I don't think he is up to date. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But the other end of that, of what I said, the disappointment aspect of X-Men is that it's not Hickman's X-Men. It never gets heady enough. The dialogue is never elevated enough. It's too, monster of the week for me. That's too Duggan. Jeez.
You're a Buffy fan. What do you mean too monster of the week for you?
Yeah, that works in Buffy.
I guess.
Yeah,
I think it works
absolutely.
in superhero comics too, and this is.
I think it works in plenty of superhero comics. I'm not disagreeing with that. Yeah. I'm saying that we went from an X-Men book where the best part about it was Apocalypse in a suit going to meet the World Council and then murdering everybody that was there, to the X-Men getting in a Zord and fighting a kaiju. That's a steep drop.
I think Kel disagrees on that one.
He can. That's fine. That's my opinion.
Oh, you don't?
You
really? The kaiju in the mech, really?
Listen, I have standards.
But that aside, I did think this issue was pretty good. Tyler, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I kind of like, in my head, I'm okay with separating this from everything. Like this was marketed as like, oh, this is going to be the Cowls and Capes X-Men book.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really touch on the Krakoa stuff. They're not even on Krakoa in this. The most Krakoa is that there's a treehouse that is built out of Krakoa, and then Cyclops becomes Captain Krakoa. And I kind of like that as a, I don't know, like a little side dish for the X-Men stories, because everything on the line has to deal with Krakoa in some extent. There is going to be a mutant gate that they're fighting off in every single book they're in. Right. This kind of being tied into it, but also enough separate from it, I'm enjoying, and it is kind of just dumb superhero comics, which I enjoy. So I mean, I'm okay with that. I like there being two different flavors of this delicious ice cream that is the X-Men line right now.
I think I'm right there with you. This isn't the same kind of, it doesn't have that gravitas that Inferno did, and I think it felt like a palate cleanser coming off of reading that first and then coming into this. It's just fun, it doesn't feel like there's these huge stakes, and I don't mind that. I like that we can just kind of deal with the situation at hand. I thought the Captain Krakoa thing was kind of confusing. I wasn't getting it, and then
Dude, I forgot Cyclops died last issue, but like,
yeah, same. No,
I'm with
I
you
had
there. I was like, oh, okay.
I had the same reaction, just like, oh yeah, okay, that's right. I had to look back to be like, oh sure, okay, and then I don't remember why Yurik forgets, and that was something that I feel like it wasn't clean.
I don't think we know the answer to that, to be fair.
Okay.
I think that was new for us too.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, it didn't feel like it was presented in a way that was very clear.
What about you, Kill?
I don't know. This series overall for me has not felt like it has enough. It feels a bit like it's trying too hard. But it's not quite achieving what it wants to do. For me anyway. They want to bring the X-Men from Krakoa to New York to be superheroes. I guess, man, like it just doesn't get there. I get the fun angle, but it doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah, and to that point, I actually feel like this book suffers from something that a lot of the other books in the X line suffer from, which is that I don't think it's really earned itself. Even the like Monster of the Week stuff just hasn't. I don't think it's been that good.
What do you mean? What do you mean by earned itself though? Not interrupt, but like.
No, you're good. So the premise is, this is the fun superheroics X book, and I don't think that it's doing that so well that I need this. Just like I don't think that Excalibur was getting its point across as the swashbuckling book where these characters are going to go around and save mutants all over the place. I don't even think it really nailed that. I don't think it earned itself through its premise.
Marauders.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Marauders.
I think there's an issue that he's getting them mixed up too. Like that in itself might be an issue.
Right. And in fact, I think Excalibur and X-Force are the ones that did earn themselves, and Wolverine. Those are all good.
Yeah, Wolverine's good.
Yeah.
Wolverine, I feel like, has been lacking the past few issues. It just like there was a storyline there, and then it's kind of deviated and has become similar to this. Just like this is what we're tackling this week. I don't know.
You guys are sleeping on New Mutants, man. That's.
To be fair, I did drop that. I dropped it after Ed Brisson left. So,
issue 2.
he left. He didn't leave issue 2. Hickman left.
It was like an arc.
Yeah, Hickman left. Hickman did his one arc and he dipped, and then Brisson did his arc and he dipped. But yeah, I just don't think that this book does enough of what it promised. And then the other stuff that it tries to do, I just don't think works that well. Let's talk about it. Here we have. What's this guy's name? The villain?
Fei Long?
Fei Long,
yeah.
Thank you, which is amazing that his name is Fei Long. For all you Street Fighter fans out there. He decides he's going to go and claim, a moon of
Mars.
A moon of Mars, a moon of Araco.
Phobos.
How?
Same way the U.S. claimed stuff. Like, or...
Yeah, I mean, you can try, but wouldn't you just get smoked? Why did Sunfire just let him do that?
Because he's a quote unquote good guy,
Yeah, I think Sunfire probably would have. Well, there would have been a bigger struggle between them had the other guy not shown up.
Vornak.
Yeah, he didn't last long. He got shooped and whooped,
By Sunfire.
Squished.
Yeah.
No, by Fei Long.
But Sunfire also blasted him.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. This part of the book I actually did like.
It was cool, but I don't get it.
No, I don't either. I haven't been reading the book, but I just, assume that
I mean, I can.
it had to do with the, the broader, building stuff
Yeah.
around Araco, So okay, cool. I can vibe with that. But
But give you context. Fei Long is a human that is realizing that mutants are becoming, the dominant species on Earth, and he's trying to reclaim some of that power for humanity. So he's experimented on himself and stuff. So he's essentially supervillain Elon Musk, which sounds redundant, but
No, he's not.
there's about 40 of those in modern comic books.
What I thought was weird was the fact that like he's Orcus and they're just letting him walk up and be like, oh, I'm claiming this, like I'm planting the flag and that's it. Like that for me felt super dissonant as the fact that they're a huge antagonist and you're just gonna let them walk around and on literally overlooking Araco.
That's literally what I'm saying. I don't understand how he was able to do that. I don't get that. You would think that they would be out in force to stop something like that from happening. And they just sent one dude and he got smoked and that was that. Guess he wins.
They didn't even send the dude. The dude just went by himself.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, do the X-Men know that he's Orcus?
I don't think so.
I thought they did. He didn't he yell it out? Like he's like, we and us as Orcus and stuff.
I mean, I
don't think many mutants know about Orcus. That's the other thing.
Right.
That's kind of only a small handful.
The ones
Even
who've been
Cyclops doesn't know about Orcus because he keeps dying there.
Right, yeah.
It really is.
That's-
I mean, now the Quiet Council knows, so Orcus isn't really a known threat for most mutants.
Cyclops isn't on the Quiet Council though.
Right. But
I
I
think
think the point
missions
that
there, but
yeah,
he keeps dying, so he never gets the memory of it.
Right.
So.
right, yeah. So yeah, like the sequence was cool. I just didn't believe that this guy could do this. That was hard for me to swallow. But at the same time, I really enjoyed the Cyclops bit because I like that Cyclops is sort of at odds in a way with the Quiet Council. That's been the status quo for him for a little while. I like that. Normally, he is always down for whatever the cause is. And here we see a Cyclops who's a little bit more resistant to that. And now the fact that he has to have this whole other identity because he died and they can't let humans know that they have the ability to resurrect, that's a pretty big wrinkle, I think, in the story of the mutants.
This is like when your player character dies in Dungeons and Dragons, and like you had a whole bunch more stuff for him, and you had to roll a new one, and you're just like, "Fuck, I didn't want to do this guy." Like,
yeah, the art's great too. I think. I mean, it's Pepe Larraz.
Yeah, great stuff.
Look at this. This is crazy. Just when Sunfire blasts this dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love whenever Sunfire gets to just unleash on somebody like that.
Sunfire looked dope in this book.
dude, his costume right now is good stuff.
Yeah.
Also,
underused character, I think, Sunfire.
we have a sponsor. I don't know if you guys knew that. I'm gonna read off the sponsor right here.
Okay.
Has someone stolen your precious celestial body? I've successfully litigated the safe return of both natural and artificial satellites from the peskiest of neighbors. Call today. Please, no planetoids. Justice is blind, and so are we. Blurred Murdoch, space lawyer. Call us today at Z002.097B.
I tried that number. It didn't work.
No,
yeah, it wouldn't be a Jerry Duggan book unless he brings that character and an add in like that. So it's kind of his thing now.
I love that. I thought that was really funny. I got a kick out of it.
Yeah, he's been doing that since what? For a while now, I think.
Look at these colors, guys.
It's tasty,
right?
It's good stuff, man. Like even I think like on the third page, you get to see Krakoa like as the tree, and it's
Mhm.
just looming over the Quiet Council. It's excellent art. It's
Yeah.
just the story feels like it's dragging. It's fun, it's a fun just action romp, but the cohesion on the story itself is pretty loose, and I don't know where it's going. I'm gonna pick it up just because I like to see these characters, but otherwise, I don't know.
I don't say pull it. I say
Huh.
I say trade weight it.
Interesting.
Yep.
I think
If
it's
you
the first
really
time you
have
said that
to.
on the show for a while.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
All right, I'll pull it. But even then, I don't know that I'm enthused about it.
A reluctant pull. It's more like a yank, really. I think
I
that's
just
where
don't think
I think that's the
anything-
differentiation between a yank and a
A
pull.
yank. Marco's used to those. Kale, Tyler.
I would. Oh, okay.
I
You
would
go,
not.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't have the $3 to waste, and I did. So don't do it.
I'd say pull it. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. For you guys that are listening, is the X-Men by Jerry Duggan, Pepe Larraz, and Martha Gracia book lighting you on fire? Do you even care at this
Sunfire.
point? Nice. All right. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Share your thoughts about that. If you're still into the book or if you're not, where are you at? I'm kind of just waiting for the relaunch, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Apache Delivery Service. This is a weird one we pulled from Dark Horse. It's a new #1, and it's by a creative team that is pretty well regarded now as one of the better duos in comics. Matt Kint with Tyler Jenkins and Hillary Jenkins. I chose this in large part because Marco's here, and I know
Aw.
that he loves Matt Kint. So why don't you start us off talking about this book?
Oh,
Man, I was kind of disappointed. This is not a strong. This is not a strong start. I feel like for a Matt Kint book.
interesting.
I
Okay.
think they've done. I think more consistent stuff from like a narrative perspective in a first issue to really grab you. I think the art's great. It definitely has its quirks. Tyler Jenkins is somebody you kind of gotta have to get used to, and he changes his style a lot. The last book that they did together, Fear Case, featured a lot more of this charcoal kind of look. This one has much cleaner lines. The flat colors are Hillary Jenkins is his wife, and she works really, really well in watercolor. And here we're a bit more subdued in that. I think we still get that flavor, but a lot more flat. And that's not to say a bad thing. I think stylistically it works. But
The art reminds me a lot of Gabriel Ba and Fabio Moon.
Yeah.
sure, yeah, I think there's a lot there for that style, and the way the story is presented, I think wasn't too clear or concise. Like I don't know where the plot's going necessarily. Usually that's much more direct, and you get a bit more from characters usually. And I don't know that I got a lot from the guy's name is Dine. I don't know that I got a lot from him. I don't know why I should root for him.
That was his name?
Yeah,
I think that was a specific tribe that he was in.
Yeah, I
No,
don't
I
think
don't
that was
even
his name.
no, he's Navajo. He's Navajo, not Apache. Sir, I'm Dine, Navajo, not Apache.
Oh, I just thought that was.
I
specific
didn't get
sect
that
of the
that was his
Navajo.
name.
Okay.
Oh, I took that as his name. I very well could be wrong.
Because in the end, right, it
Dine
says
is the name of the Navajo people. There you go.
oh, is it really? Oh,
it says
there you go.
as Ernie and Sobrat journey deeper into the jungles of the Vietnam. So he's either Ernie or Sobrat, and I'm gonna assume he's Sobrat.
Well, in that case, that's even. I'm more disappointed by that because I feel like I didn't even get their names.
I think that was deliberate, actually, though.
Yeah.
Okay,
I thought that was a part of the story.
gotcha.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably my big complaint about a first issue is when I don't know the characters' names.
Same.
What are we doing here if you're not going to introduce the character to me?
Yeah.
I think that's a storytelling device, though, because nobody
Yeah.
else in the book knows his name or cares to know his name.
Right.
I think he's supposed to be this unknown soldier in a way, and we're supposed to kind of also not really know who he is.
That was the vibe I got. And it's funny you said Unknown Soldier because it specifically reminded me of that story. I don't know if you said that because you read that back in the day or what, but yeah.
I maybe subconsciously, but yeah.
Do you remember that story or?
That was what was it again? It was
Who wrote it?
Also the idea of the Unknown Soldier is, I think.
Yeah. That's
So
fine.
I think,
That's fine. Yeah. But go ahead.
I was gonna say I have read a lot of Matt Kent #1s, and I have never read a #2.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
He's one of those creators that just does not click with me.
No way. Okay.
Because they get a little out there, and I enjoyed this issue. Like, it was like the first one where I was like, okay, it's not some really crazy mind-bending supernatural or trippy kind of story. It's a lot more grounded. It is a very small cast. It's not an ensemble. It's just this one real character that we're kind of following around. And there's a cliffhanger, like simple. It was like simple storytelling for me. So I was like, all right, I'm in. And I think the art is very good. It kind of gives me, who did Last Guard? I don't know if you can help me out with that one. Matt could probably help me out in the chat if he's still watching. But
It was Greg Rucka and
I totally forgot it.
That's the old guard, right?
Oh, the old guard. Yeah, the old guard.
Oh, Fernando. Hold on, the old guard.
It's a comic. Whatever. It's kind of that more. It is cleaner than what I picture a
Leandro
book by
Fernandez.
Leandro Fernandez. Yeah, it's cleaner than what I picture a Tyler Jenkins book being in my head, which I was appreciative of. So I actually enjoyed this. I thought it was interesting because it takes a turn that I'm like, oh, that was a more grounded turn, but also one enough where I'm like, oh yeah, that is weird that there's just some random. I'm hearing Dick Dastardly's voice in my head when this character talks. He's like a dandier version of Kraven the Hunter.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and then there's a story there, and there's this one looming character in the background. So I don't know. I was actually kind of digging this one.
Yeah, same. I would say I was moderately interested as the story went on. But once we get to the part where he talks about in the flashback, I guess his father or whatever, says, a well-skinned hide should have everything intact. And the next thing we see on the page turn is, a desecrated corpse. Like, that immediately got me. And then, the big cliffhanger. I mean, that sold me on this series. Like, I'm in wherever this is probably gonna go. Yeah, I'm in.
Wow.
I like this because it didn't feel like a Matt Kent book to me.
I love war stories, unfortunately. I'm just a sucker for stories where it's just horrible war. And we read those books by
Garth Ennis.
Thank you, Garth Ennis.
I thought you were doing a Garth Ennis impression there. Same.
They weren't. There were aspects of those books that I really enjoyed, and the aspects of them that I enjoyed were the parts that felt authentic and that didn't pull punches. And this is very similar to that. You have a story that's equal parts about the horrors of war, the lack of respect for the kill, as it were, which sounds pretty awful, but that's what the book was evoking. Similar to when you kill animals, as Kale points out, and also racism, right? It's dealing with these things in a way that's compelling. I have to say, I was surprised by how I felt about this. I wasn't in love with it, but I definitely enjoyed it. And I didn't expect the cliffhanger by any means, so I have no clue where this book is going at all. But I'm probably going to read the next one.
Yo, I'm so excited. This is awesome.
Who could have called that?
Yeah, a Matt Kent book, and then Marco's the coolest on it. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say, I think we liked it more than Marco did.
Yeah, I think so. I did like Sean, you brought it up, but like the humanity aspect of like respecting the kill, right? Like I feel like that's something that in war you lose, obviously, because people lose themselves in it. And the fact that he comes from a place where you, regardless of the situation, you respect the sacrifice. It that was such a good contrast to the war itself, right? Where you grew up, and then how you treat your fellow man in these dire situations, in situations where otherwise you would want to show this kind of mercy, and for that to just not be something that you would do. Like I like when Kent kind of dives into these concepts. Man, I'm so excited that you guys like this. It's weird. I feel weird now that I was not as hot on it.
Should
I
feel
will say
bad.
I'm hot on this issue. As soon as it takes like a really, really, really weird turn, I might be off.
No, see, and then that's where
I
I'm gonna be
kind
like,
of
yes.
expect it. I kind of expect it at this point. So
Yeah. We didn't really talk about the art. I do have to say that the art was probably the weakest part of the story for me, the weakest
No.
aspect of this book. I don't think that it was like bad, and I do think it gets the point across. And I can't necessarily tell you what I didn't like about it. Maybe it was because of how sort of plain it was. But I don't think I've ever seen anything from Tyler Jenkins that I liked or that I was like in love with. So it could just be that his style's not for me. But again, I didn't think it was bad. I thought it fit the story, even if it didn't light me on fire.
Yeah, Jenkins is, I think, a more odd creator in the way that he draws. Very, very like line. The lines are pretty thin. The way that he draws backgrounds, it changes from book to book, which is what I appreciate the most about him. And so this is pretty different from some of the other stuff that he's done in the past few books, just in general. I think his collaboration with Hillary has been really, really fruitful. They've done a lot of cool stuff, and I love her color work. This one was, for me, from a color perspective, a bit lackluster because I think her use of watercolors is a bit more freeform. If you follow her on Instagram, she does these like these what do you do when you like do like mountains and stuff like that? I'm forgetting the word.
landscapes.
Landscapes?
Yes, landscapes, and they're beautiful. The way that she uses super minimal colors, I think that's the advantage of what she brings to these kind of books, is a usage of really limited palette, but makes them very expressive. And I think that combination works so well with these kinds of books because the storytelling is usually pretty evocative, and I think that mixed in with what Kent's gonna do later on, which I hope he gets weird, is where that kind of fits for me. That's like a perfect marriage. But yeah, I don't. I get what you mean by like not jiving with it. Jenkins is definitely unconventional.
So pull, trade, wait, or pass.
I say pull. I'm gonna say
Pull.
pull on this one. Yeah.
Pull.
I say pull, but that's with the caveat of also trade weight because I'm a trade waiter. Like if I weren't reading this for the show, I would be trade weighting it.
Do we know how
So
long this is going to be?
That's good for me.
I have no idea.
Usually it's like 4 to
I would
6
think like a
issues.
4. Yeah.
Yeah.
If this the trajectory goes like smooth, it's probably a good trade. You know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in what he has to say. Clearly, he has something to say, so I want to hear it. Let's talk about Spawn, the main event, right?
Let's make it quick.
What we've all been waiting for.
We got to pad this part of the episode, Tyler.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Just want to show off this cover once again because I do think it is very hot.
Who did that variant?
And
Good luck.
Don't see
Finding
I don't
variant
see a
artists
credit. Yeah,
listed is tricky.
yeah. Unfortunately, I would love to give credit, but I don't see it.
It's not
So-
McFarlane. We can say that.
Well, you know what else is not McFarlane? the writer of this book. But when you look at the cover, it only credits Todd McFarlane and Carlo Barberi, which is really strange.
Always going into business for himself, that McFarlane, huh?
So this was written by Rory McConville, who did the script and plot, right? A lot of times Todd is credited with plot. Carlo Barberi did the art. Tom Orzechowski did the letters. J. David Ramos did the colors. And Tom's only credit is creative director. Okay, fine. Whatever. We said that Rory McConville wrote the best issue of Spawn that we have read with, I believe it was 324. And I have to say that this issue did not live up to that.
Boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was falling asleep.
Like, my issue is that Spawn is such a cool character. I think that's fair. There are some panels here where he's like jumping in the sky and his cape is like taking up, half the panel. Like, it is an awesome design. I can give McFarlane that. But if I'm reading a Spawn book and I get to a page that is full of about 20 different paragraphs of dialogue, you're doing something wrong. That's not why I want to read Spawn. I skipped the page.
To Rory's credit here, I do think he does a decent job of not telling us what's on the page.
Right.
Yeah.
Already.
Okay.
He at least adds different information.
So bare minimal.
Yeah. Like he is a good writer. But yeah, this was brutal, man.
It's unfortunate because I thought we were onto something with this, but this really was kind of a dud. It establishes some things that are important for sure, like the fact that the Forsaken appears to be hunting various versions of Spawn, and that this group, whatever they're called, they are collecting spawns. Okay, I'm into that, but why did I have to listen to them prattle on about their plans that don't matter and don't make sense when I could just be watching Spawn beat ass?
Dude, you have Haunt show up in this. Haunt's one of those also like great character designs.
Yo,
and like,
what the hell?
Haunt's great. I love Haunt.
That didn't matter.
It didn't. We got instead 5 pages of a boardroom meeting in a Spawn book. And
not
it's
not like Jonathan Hickman,
No.
quiet council
Like fun
dialogue.
Yeah.
It's a loud council. It's a very loud council on this one.
Just people talking. Irrelevant dialogue.
And I feel like Spawn is just so simple. Like, it's guy fights demons and there's angels. Like, just keep it stupid simple at this point. Like, it's just every Spawn book I read, they're like name dropping people that I don't know, and they don't explain it. And it's always just short, fat dude too. It's always that.
The clown.
It's like 3 characters in this book.
Oh.
Yeah, like Cagliostro is one of them, and that other ginger guy. Like, it's such a bummer. Like, Spawn's one of those characters that just has so much potential, and it's never really worked out because its creator has a stranglehold over the character.
Tyler, to quote Cordelia, you want to take a shot? Be my guest, but you won't get any assistance from me.
Sean, I heard the Buffy fan come out of you there. Just for
Yeah, dude. I felt it in my bones.
Cordelia.
Right there. I don't know. Like, I don't want to completely crap on that segment because it wasn't like the dialogue was like cringe. It wasn't like it was over the top stupid. It was just boring. You know, like, he's setting the table. I get that. I understand that there is a major story at play. And Tyler, you're not going to know that because you're not reading Spawn month to month.
I will be now, but
you will. You will be now. And so there are bigger things at play, but there are ways to show that are interesting, and they've done it before. There have been scenes, like, for example, whoever was here, if any of you were here, I don't remember, when we did the review of Gunslinger Spawn.
Yeah.
And there was that scene with the woman who's like controls dinosaurs or whatever.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Why?
That's what I wanna see.
Because she looked fucking cool. She had a crazy costume. She was talking shit. It was interesting. And everybody else in the scene was talking shit, but they weren't talking my head off. They said what they had to say, and she had dinosaurs. Like, yeah, great. This is fantastic.
I want a Spawn book should be action figures. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's.
If someone in this book had dinosaurs, I'd say pull it. If Cygor was in this book, I'd say pull it.
I agree.
But none of that happens. We get Haunt, but nothing happens with Haunt. So how can I say pull this? If Spawn is supposed to be an action figure, the coolest action figures possible do not appear in this comic book. Pass.
Agreed.
Hard pass.
We'll see you next Spawn issue, guys.
Now, hold on, because I need right now to speak to my Spawn fans, okay? I need to speak to my Spawn fans. Listen, I'm not saying that I don't like Spawn. I fucking love Spawn, okay? Spawn is fantastic. The last issue, really good. Gunslinger Spawn, really good. King Spawn, But this book right here just didn't cut the mustard. I'll give it credit for one thing, though. And I'm saying this for that fan, that listener who commented and said, stop shitting on the book for the news items. I'm saying this for you. I was really happy that in this comic book, there were no news segments. Okay? I'll credit it. I will give it that credit. You're welcome. Thank you to all Spawn fans.
Frankly,
Pass on this book.
That's where the book lost me. I was waiting for it, and
How am I supposed to know what's going on in the world if I don't have the Alex Jones analog telling me what it is?
Probably a short, fat dude too, right?
My man,
Yeah, pretty much. He's
my man
Alex Jones.
looks like a frumpy Alex Jones.
Want a character with an HGH belly in this book telling me the news.
Carlo Barbary, by the way, still really great. We
Yeah,
say it
art's
every
good.
month.
Art's good.
brushes.
I wasn't crazy about the art in this one, actually. Toward the end, especially.
Really?
It
I mean, if
looked-
they gave him something to do,
Yeah, that's
yeah, that's probably part of it. Yeah, these boardroom scenes and the doctors, just passing through halls and talking to Cordelia. It something about it. Maybe it could have been the colors or the line work. Something about it just felt amateur
oh God.
No.
Yeah,
in ways that I've knocked other books from a lot lesser creators for.
It feels like a Dynamite book.
That's
It feels-
harsh.
What was that company?
Don't
that-
say it.
You
Double
know
Take?
exactly. Yes, that's what that feels like.
No, I don't know.
You're wrong, bro. You're gonna have to justify that right now. You're gonna have to point to a page right now and tell me where this looked like Double Take.
I think the boardroom
Okay.
scenes.
I mean, look at the where where Spawn is. He's got the he's asking the guy in the green shirt about Cogliostro or whatever the fuck his name is.
I don't think it's that bad.
I don't know. It just doesn't look good to me. He's in the bottom corner. I think it's the
Just so you know, all Spawn fans, Kale's Twitter is at Toto and Toe.
That's TOTOINTOW.
at loud_Pete. Is my,
I don't know. I mean, I'll say that paneling maybe isn't strong. I don't know that it necessarily felt like it was guiding us through pages. I think on that same page, actually, what is this? Page 16, where we mention who's Figueredo, and there's just like this series of truncated and kind of choppy panels, but I don't know, dude. Or even the next page is just blood everywhere and people have been blown up. I don't know. kind of like okay, but otherwise, I don't know. I think the art's the strongest part of this book.
Okay. I mean, I agree. I think for this issue, it's absolutely true. And for every issue we've read, except for 324 or whatever, I think that's true. But yeah, I don't think we need to belabor it on Spawn. We get it. This issue was not good, and we'll be back whenever the next Spawn issue releases to tell you whether we think it's good or bad.
That's the pull quote for the trade. We get it, the Comics Pals. We get it.
So before we close out, we've got a couple of things that we're going to do here. The first one is that I am going to introduce to you guys a new segment here on Pals Pulls. This segment is one that I'm affectionately calling, and if you guys hate it, let me know, Comics Tag. And the idea is that I am going to tag one of the pals with a book that they have to then read and come to this podcast next week to say what they thought about it. And then that person can tag whoever they want with whatever recommendation they have for them. So I'm going to start because, it's my idea. And I'm going to choose Marco.
Ooh.
Hello.
Yes. Hi. How far did you get with Joker?
The second issue.
Read issue 3 and 4.
Okay.
Dude, you're draining his wallet, man. Come on.
No.
First
I have
Onslaught, and then
I have DC Universe. I can
true,
read it
you
whenever
should
I
be good at
want.
that point.
There
Yeah,
you go.
you'd be fine.
There you go. So you will read Joker 3 and 4. Come here next week. Let us know your thoughts. And then you will have the power to tag anyone you want and make them read whatever you want. The only caveat is it can't be, some long thing.
Sure.
I did 2 here just because I felt like it, but, typically it should be 1. But that's what we'll do.
Yeah. Do as he says, not as he does.
It's not like
You see
Marco's
this
going-
T-shirt
Marco can't
I'm
go
wearing
anywhere.
right now? Do you see this? This makes me the leader.
Of what?
Excuse me.
This
Bad
podcast.
T-shirts.
No, don't ever say something like that about a T-shirt with Cyclops on it. Okay,
I think I'm the leader with my T-shirt. Honestly, I got this
No.
duck fit going on.
you're
right now.
you are not. You're the leader of the Spawn fandom with that T-shirt.
Oh, if only there's power there. So
That's true. They dropped over $1 million on that
seriously, man, I'll
that
gladly.
Toy?
Kickstarter. That toy, yeah.
That's like
Wasn't
one
Matt
step
one of them?
below being
Yeah, I
like
think
king
he
of the
was.
juggalos. It's like right underneath that.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
You're not wrong.
And then the last thing we're going to do before we get out of here is the actual Pals Pull segment that you guys know and love from the main show. We are moving that over here. It makes sense. We do it every week anyways, so we might as well just make it official and do it here always. And the main show will not have that anymore. So if you want our thoughts on the upcoming books for next week, which some amount of these we will be reviewing, of course, this is where you will come to hear that. Tyler, why don't you go first?
I'm gonna pick the Department of Truth number 15. It's by James Tynion with a guest artist David Romero, who did some of his Razor Blades horror magazine stuff.
Ooh.
This is an issue that deals with Mothman.
What?
Apparently,
Hell yeah.
the government tried creating their own tulpa and created the Mothman by accident in West Virginia, and it sounds like it's a quick little arc.
That's fun.
Yeah,
What? Sorry, this is Department of Truth.
yeah, dude, it's so good. It's real
Okay.
fun stuff. It's
Okay.
all cryptozoology shit and government conspiracy
shit.
stuff.
Okay, I didn't know
They
about
even
that.
touch on like really like kind of messed up stuff too. Then I
Aren't
also picked
the-
Devil's Reign Superior 4 number 1. This is a Zach Thompson joint, artist David Tinto. This is Dr. Octopus coming up with his own Superior 4.
Love
and
it.
It's a Devil's Reign event tie-in.
How about you, Marco?
So I picked a image number 1, Rain. It's a Joe Hill book, and I think it's being co-written by David M. Brewer. I like Joe Hill. I think he does pretty cool stuff within the horror realm. This looks to be a bit different and kind of going away from that horror focus, and so I'm curious to see what he's going to do there. The art's by Zoe Thorogood and colors by Chris O'Halloran. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he has to put out. The cover looks pretty cool, kind of like Clint-esque, and I'm interested. And then the other book I got is Maze Book. Maze Book number 5. This is a Jeff Lemire solo piece. It's
Ooh.
him doing the story, the plot, and the art. I like when he does these kind of things. They're pretty. They're pretty. He works in watercolor specifically, and this is about a father who has to traverse a mind maze, where he has to find his daughter who's been lost there. And it's been a really good book. I usually pick up Jeff Lemire joints, and so this is another good one. Another Image book. Oh, sorry, no, Dark Horse.
Nice. How about you, Kill?
I am pulling the trigger this week on the mini deaths of Lila Starr,
Yes.
the trade. Very, very excited. This is Ron V and Philippe Andrade on the art. This one of my top books of the year. I think the premise is insane. The art takes it to a whole other level. I'm so excited to get my hands on this book. It's about death becoming mortal and trying to decide whether or not she's going to kill the child who can bring humanity immortality. It's such a cool concept. I'm so into it.
You only read the first issue, right?
The first 2, I think.
2. Okay. You're gonna like this. This is a very you book.
Yeah. The other thing is Daredevil Woman Without Fear #1. This is Elektra as Daredevil. I'm so excited by this concept, man. I know I said this over the episode, but I think Elektra as Daredevil is a no-brainer of a concept as an evolution of both Daredevil and Elektra. I think it's unique. I think it makes complete sense. And I think it's cool that Chip Zdarsky is going to push Elektra in a different direction for her. So the art is going to be done by Rafael De La Torre, and it says Chris Baccialo as well. I wonder if he'll be on the covers.
He's on covers, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Elektra is the world's deadliest assassin, and she's taken a vow not to kill. Sweet. Sign me up.
Love it. I also pulled that. That's going to be cool, I think. I love where Elektra is right now. I can't wait to dive into the Red, White, and Blood, I think it was called.
Yep.
I picked that up. I can't wait to dive into that. Really excited for where the character is. So I'm going to get that. And then also Robin and Batman #3. I've been hot on this book. I think it's really, really good. I don't see enough people talking about it. It's fire. The Dustin Nguyen art is incredible. He really doesn't miss, and this is no exception. Jeff Lemire is telling a really interesting story that centers primarily around Robin, and it's kind of like almost like a pre-year 1 Robin story in a way. And there are, some differences between what you think you know about Robin and Batman's relationship in these earlier times. It feels like it's building towards the relationship that we know, and I really appreciate that. And it's doing some things that are kind of surprising, the Killer Croc angle, things like that. So great book. Only 3 issues, I believe. This is the finale.
Yep.
So go out and pick this up. Worth your money. I stand by it. It's great. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. If you tuned in live, that's super cool. This was not something that we promoted in any way. This was more of a proof of concept.
Decided on this yesterday, guys.
Yeah, yep. And we're doing it today. So that's the kind of thing that you can expect from us now. Like we want to expand. We want to do bigger and cooler things. And streaming is definitely going to be a big part of that. So we will be announcing our streams in the future. We just wanted to see if this would work, and it did. So huge shout out to everybody that tuned in. Thank you to everybody who's watching on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. It is totally free to do. Like the video, share it with your friends. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. We would love to get to 1,000 subscribers, because if we do, Kale owes us a backflip, which I am super excited about.
Yep.
So let's
do one backflip.
Let's get that going.
Matt.
I do want to read Isaiah Osa's comment. That's actually Harris from the Discord. Thank you for tuning in. I hope Elektra's turn as Daredevil won't be brief. I think she had a very short stint in the 90s, and I know her amalgam version doesn't count either. Yeah, I didn't know that she had ever been a Daredevil before.
Yeah.
That's not that I didn't have any awareness of that, so that's pretty cool. I gotta figure that this is something that they're gonna let live for a little while, marching to the beat of Chip's drum. You know, whatever he has planned for the wider Daredevil story post Devil's Reign will definitely influence how long she gets to be Daredevil. But I think it's great so far, so why not keep it up? Yeah, so listen to the main show, The Comics Pals, drops every single Monday. There we talk about the news in both the comics industry and the film industry as it relates to comics. So if you like that stuff, join us on over there. Make sure that you guys follow us here, by the way, so that you know when we go live. If you are not watching this on Twitch, that's twitch.tv/The Comics Pals. Head on over, hit the follow button, subscribe if you feel so inclined. Actually, I don't think we can have subscribers yet, but definitely follow. Soon enough. Definitely hit that follow button. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Make your Wednesdays Comics Pals Wednesdays going forward. Watch the pull list every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. For these guys, I'm Sean, saying until next week, take care, guys.